Well, hello there, and welcome to Cityline. It is great to be in your home. We are zooming from my kitchen, and boy, do we have a great hour ahead of us. Later on, we'll be talking with Sound Outreach. Tim Jumper is here to talk about their part in the pandemic rental assistance, helping people get financial stability underneath them. Tim is a wealth of knowledge, so you don't want to miss that segment. And then Valerie will be here. She is with Pierce County Housing Rental Assistance. Yes, there's a theme. Yes, we planned this hour this way. She's here to talk about rental assistance and this phrase that we keep hearing, rental assistance portal. What does that mean, and how does it help folks stay in their homes? So Valerie's going to explain all of that to us. And then we've got to have a little snuggles along the way. That would be the Pierce County Humane Society here with their Pet of the Week. And then with me right now are two individuals who have earned their angel wings 10 times over. And I think at this point, we need to start naming some bathrooms after them in Tacoma, because the work they are doing is legendary. I'm talking about Tacomaprobono and community lawyers. They are here with a housing justice project update. So please join me in welcoming Lori Davenport. You are the Director of Development and Outreach for Tacomaprobono Community Lawyers. Welcome back, Lori.
Thank you, Amanda. I'm delighted to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you here. And you brought with you, you probably had to drag him out of bed, or maybe you had to walk into his office and say, Mark, it's time to wake up, because he probably slept. And that goes for both of you, working so hard. Mark Marzal, you are the managing attorney of the Housing Justice Project for Tacomaprobono Community Lawyers. Hello, my dear, and welcome back to Cityline.
Good morning, Amanda, and I'm wide awake, here and wide awake.
You precious thing. So Lori, let's just start and jump into this, because we have so much to get through. Tell us again what services Tacomaprobono Community Lawyers provides in our community.
Sure. I mean, just to kind of focus who we are and what we do. We provide civil legal aid, and that means people who can't afford an attorney and are facing a legal problem, anything that is not criminal defense, we are here to help with that. The best way to get our help is to go on to our website and fill out our online intake form, and we will get back to you. It's such a broad area. I know we're focused on housing. Everybody's hyper focused on housing now, but we do other things as well. So that's us.
Boy, and I'm crossing my fingers and waiting for the day that housing becomes a blip of what you do, not pretty much almost the whole pie as we speak right now. So Mark, the eviction moratorium is over. And are we seeing that tsunami of evictions that was predicted?
Well, so that's a really wonderful question, Amanda. So as you know, whenever I come on here, I want to provide as much information as possible. And I think we're going to see it's a little bit of a mixed bag at this point. So over the past couple months, the evictions here in Pierce County have been about 70% of the rate they are in a normal year, which is surprising to some people. It's less than we've seen in prior years that were before COVID. With that comes some bad news. Pierce County has the most evictions, total evictions, every month of any county in Washington State. And so you kind of look at those two things and you wonder what's going on. And this is a shameless plug for Tim and Valerie, who are going to be on here later, that a big portion of this amount that we haven't seen the tsunami is the rental assistance that's available in Pierce County. 8,500 individual households have received assistance, and rental assistance so far has covered roughly 76,000 months of individual rent. So if those months of rent were not covered by rental assistance, you could only imagine what the tsunami would have been. So are we seeing the need? Is the need for a tsunami there? Absolutely. Are we seeing the effects of the tsunami? Not yet, because there's been rental assistance there to help tenants out.
Oh boy, that's kind of like a lifeline, but we're almost there, but just not quite. So Mark, last time you were here, you mentioned that Washington's landlord-tenant laws have changed, and they seem like they change on a daily basis sometimes from the information I hear in this community. Are these changes making a difference to prevent evictions, or are they clogging the whole tube up?
Well, so that's interesting because we're so new into these changes. Although it's been 6 months and we've been on this program a few times, everybody is still learning to navigate this. I know that once the laws took effect, things really became real for a lot of people, both landlords and tenants. And we've been out in the community and we've been providing trainings for landlords and tenants to understand the scope of these protections, these new tenant protections. Landlords need to understand them because they need to know what they're doing so that they're doing the right thing, because there's significant monetary penalties for landlords who won't follow them. And tenants need to know because they need to know their rights in these situations. They need to know what rights they could assert. And if they're uninformed of them, they're going to be taken advantage of by some landlords that aren't following the rules. So it's a little bit early to tell. We know that everybody's trying to grapple with them. Here at the Housing Justice Project, we're very comfortable with them. We could talk tenants through their options, but everybody's dealing with it. And we're still kind of waiting to see where this leads us, if it's leading us down a proper path. Over the past couple of years, 2017, 18, 19, the legislature made change after change after change. And for the first time ever this year, they took a little bit of a timeout and they just want to see where things are going. And just like everybody else. So we're really excited that there is being an impact that's being made by these new laws, but it's going to take some time to reveal where the gaps are.
So speaking of kind of learning on the fly, as we say, is that eviction resolution program still available for tenants and landlords who want to work out payment plans for past due rent?
Yeah, so despite the moratorium ending, the eviction resolution pilot program continued, and it will continue at least until summer of 2023 right now, and possibly even further. So this is something that landlords and tenants really need to be acquainted with. For every non-payment eviction or every allegation that a tenant is behind on rent, a landlord has to offer a tenant an opportunity to utilize the eviction resolution pilot program to try to figure the situation out. The mediators at the eviction resolution pilot program are going to work with the tenant, they're going to work with the landlord, and they're going to try to see if there's a solution out there. They're going to explore if rental assistance is available, if repayment plans are available, which is another new change in the law, and try to figure this out so it doesn't have to go to court, so that tenants can stay in their homes and landlords get paid the money that that they might have been missing out on during the moratorium. So yes, it is very active and it's going to be with us for a while. And it's a mandatory step if tenants want to use this. And so tenants really need to be aware of this.
So, Lori, I want to have you jump in here because the portal to access Pierce County rental assistance has been closed for some time, and we'll talk with Valerie with her later on. Has it reopened? Number one, and then number two, is the rental assistance still available if it has reopened?
Yes, and I know Valerie's on the program too, which is great because she can explain all the details way faster than I can. So I just want to repeat again, because it's been so frustrating for everybody that the portal is closed. Everybody's wondering, obviously, are they out of money? Has it stopped? Where's my application? But it is now open. People can apply for rental assistance. New applications have priority over returning applications, but anyone can apply and anybody can go back. So that's a huge relief for everyone. We just want to put it out there as many times as we can.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember when the Seattle Times headline was that they had run out of, rental assistance money. And I thought, oh my gosh, Tacomaprobono is going to get, their phone is going to just light up with, are we in that same boat? So it's good to hear that we are not, and that the rental assistance portal is now open. So Mark, that leads me to ask this question. If a tenant receives a 14-day eviction notice, what do they do? I mean, and if I were to receive that, my first question is, oh my gosh, do I have to leave my home in 14 days?
Yeah, so it's really important to know and to be clear about what a 14-day notice is. So about a 14-day notice is a notice from the landlord saying that there is rent owing. And the notice itself is called a pay or vacate notice. So the tenant has options in this situation. If they're financially well off or something like that, they could pay the amount that the landlord says and nothing's going to happen. They can, if they're, again, well off, which most people aren't, they can leave the premises, the house, within 14 days and no eviction action is going to happen. But it's really important to note that no landlord in Washington can get an eviction order without starting the court eviction process. So if you're still there, if you're a tenant that's still there on day 15, landlord cannot lock you out. Landlord cannot force you out. They have to use the court process. They have to give you an opportunity to appear in front of the court and explain what is going on and what solutions there are to the situation. Also, some of these changes that we've been talking about with the new law also allows tenants to have legal representation appointed to them at these hearings. So it's very important that tenants show up for it. So when it comes to a 14-day pay or vacate notice, there's a lot of options out there, but they can be complicated. And so the very first step is tenants should be treating this as a warning, like I need to take care of the situation now. It's literally to notify them that that there is a problem going on and to reach out to Tacoma Pro Bono to receive legal assistance and understand what their options are, because there may be more options than they believe are available. The situation may feel hopeless, but it isn't always hopeless in any situation. So my advice to any tenant is when they receive a 14-day pay or vacate, treat it like something we recognize, like a green light changing to yellow, right? You have to make an additional decision at that point. You have to take some sort of action. It's not a red light yet, meaning you're not going to be evicted on day 15, but it's a yellow light and it needs to be taken care of.
Well said, very well said. In addition to that, which is happening, and you've clarified so beautifully, we also have the fact that rents are through the roof. And we hear that in some cases, when people are current on their rent and the landlord and tenant are on the same page again, then we hear that the landlord, because that's their form of income, they have to put food on the table as well. They have raised the rent, and people are being forced out of their homes. So Mark, is there a limit that they can raise a rent once a situation has been rectified?
Wow, I'm going to give you a great cop-out answer here, Amanda. For the first time ever, I'm going to give you a cop-out answer. So we believe there is, but the general mindset is that there is not. And to go back to talking about rent increases, this isn't something that's specific to the Pacific Northwest. It's happening all over the country that, coming out of the pandemic, coming out of the moratoria that was all over, that a lot of landlords have increased rent. Some have done it in a moderate sense, meaning $100, $200, something that could conceivably be reasonable. But some of these rent increases are unreasonable. And we believe that the law prevents unreasonable rent increases from occurring. But in order to make that argument, we have to find tenants that are facing these unreasonable restrictions, these unreasonable rent increases, and bring their case in front of the court. And we're looking forward to doing that. We just need the tenants to notify us and seek legal assistance so that we can make that representation. We can make those arguments to the court so that the tenant can have their day in court and say, this is unreasonable.
So Lori, we know that the Housing Justice Project's been doing a lot of outreach. I see all the time you and your team at the Pierce County Library System and also at the Pierce County Rental Assistance. Is that still happening? And is that outreach, are those events being scheduled, and how do we find out about them?
It certainly is, and they're getting busier and busier because people are, there's more going on. The portal's been closed. People are getting 14-day notices, and we are out there. We were at Lakewood Library on Monday. We will be at South Hill Library next Tuesday. And if you want to see the schedule as it develops and changes, it's on the Pierce County Library's website. It's also on our website. If you look at our Housing Justice Project page, it's always up to date. So,
all right.
Yes, we are out there.
Speaking of out there, Mark, I have 30 seconds left, and I want to give a plug for the help team that you mentioned last time, which prevents evictions by helping tenants with all kinds of problems before they face that eviction hearing. So is that team working, and how is it going?
Yeah, that team's working beautifully, and they're helping tenants with all sorts of issues outside of the eviction process, from security deposit returns, landlords who aren't making repairs, to removing old evictions off of tenants' records so they can find new housing, removing legal financial obligations that are a burden to finding new housing. Any conceivable general housing issue that a tenant has, that team has been working with, and they're going to continue to do so. So reach out with your questions.
Thank you both so much for being here today. Get some sleep, get some sunshine, and I hope to see you again real soon.